guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sonnet, the owner and creator behind Sonnet's Garden Blooms, and in today's video, I am going to create with Royce's new stencils. So did you guys miss Royce and Lexi's class Stenciling 102? I was completely inspired after taking that class, and they have their new stencils. Royce has the new stencils out. They are all in my shop, and I am going to show you how I use 2 of them in today's video. I had a bunch of these boards that I actually picked up at Menards, and my vision here is I'm going to paint it, and then I want to use the IOD stamp called Barnwood Planks. I want to add a bit of that texture in the background to make it look like a wood wall or like a barn board wall, and then I am going to add some details to it, and then I plan on using Royce's new stencil called Antlers. First off, I am going to use Fusion Mineral Paint in Appleton, and I think this looks like a kind of like a nice woody look. So it does have a top coat built in, so there's no need to actually seal this. And that is the difference between Fusion Mineral Paint and DIY clay-based paint. With the clay-based paint, you do need to top coat it. This has the top coat built in. So I'm applying one even coat to the entire piece. I'm going to let it dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have some fun with this. Now that that's dry, we're going to take the stamp set, Barnwood Planks, and we are going to, first off, season them. This is a brand new set of stamps, so you just peel off that backing, take a piece of sandpaper, just really light grit sandpaper, and rub it all over. And this is going to actually season your stamp, so it is ready for you to apply ink to it. My first vision was I wanted to use stone gray. I thought that would, I didn't want to use black initially because I wanted to use another stamp to add black. And once I used stone gray though, I felt like it did not show up enough. So I'm going to show you that now. Anytime you're using a stamp, ink it up. And then once you go all in to lay it down, just lay it down and rub all over, and just really rub just very gently, but you want to touch every area of it so you have a real nice impression. So you can see the stamp, but it's not what it, like how I envisioned it. I think it is just too light for the Appleton. If I would have went with just a slightly lighter colored paint, I think it would have been perfect. So now what I'm doing is I am going in with black. So I'm taking black, I'm inking it up, and now I'm trying to realign up where the gray was, where that stone gray was, and I line it up the best I can. And again, I just rub all over, and you can see it is much darker, and that's really what I was going for, just a darker look. So I continue on with this process. I continue to re-ink up and then apply it, and then I want to add another strip on the very bottom, so I just stamp just a portion of it on the bottom. Like I said, I wanted this to look like a barn wall, barn board wall. So I just proceed to continue on, apply all the stamps, and it's just very random. So I want it to look like an old, kind of warped wall. It does not have to be perfect. And once I get that done, then I'm going to zap it with my heat gun. I really want to make sure the ink is dry before I move on to the next step. Here I am showing you the antlers, and I want to kind of judge where the antlers are going to lie, because what I plan on doing is using the stamp set called Le Courrier. I just want to add a little bit of font here and there randomly all over the wall as well, just to give it more of like a mixed media type of look. So I am going to ink up Le Courrier and then the 2 first rows. And this is when things kind of went awry a bit. I laid it down, and then I'm like, how much pressure do I want to put on? Do I want it to be really light? and then I felt like it was too light. The lacquer just was too light, and maybe I should have just rolled with it. But then I decide I'm going to reline it up and I'm going to try to, make a better impression. And I lay it down, and then it kind of looks smeared. And then I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to re-ink it up, and I am going to go back in and I'm going to make a better impression. And the lacquer was really dark, so I actually liked it at this point. Then I decided to use the brand new stamp set called Ephemera Type, and I just randomly start inking up chunks of that stamp and just randomly stamping all around the antlers. And again, I just want it to be very random. I want it to just have a little bit of font here and there. And again, I leave the antler stencil there so I can kind of gauge like where the antlers are going to be placed, what will be around it. And I didn't really want any of the font underneath the antlers, so I just kind of went all the way around. And what I also like to do is clean up my stamps if I'm going to be using it. If I am not taking that stamp right off that backing, I want to clean it up just so that I don't accidentally stamp some other area of my project. So I always have baby wipes handy. And as you can see, I'm going to just show you how I randomly stamp here and there. Now it's time to add the antlers, and I wanted to go with something just a little bit darker, but I really wanted the antlers to pop off of the aliquin. So I am using crinoline from DIY, and I am also using the JRV stencil brush. This is one of my favorite stencil brushes to use. I do carry these on my website as well at www.sonnetsgardenblooms.com. And I had the opportunity to try these firsthand when I was at Debbie Beard's shop. I honestly fell in love and decided this was the stencil brush that I wanted to carry. Everything I carry, I always like to test before I offer the product. So I like the brush because it's really nice and stiff. And stenciling can be very difficult, you guys. A lot of people get very impatient, and that's where the stencils go wrong. You overload your paintbrush, and that is the #1 key. Always offload. Less paint is more. You can go back and add additional coats. If you have too much paint on your paintbrush, you're going to get seepage. The other thing is you need a good stencil. Royce's stencils are nice and thick. They are perfect. So again, offload your stencil brush, have a good stencil. And I just go around and I continue on and add the first coat of paint. Now it's time to add the detail to your antlers, and this is a really cool stencil. So you put the antlers on first, then you line up the second stencil, and that is what is going to give you all the details and a little depth to your stencil. And what I do is I just line it all up, and I'm going to use Prairie Gray, which is a slightly different color than the aliquin, which is on the background. And again, key offload that stencil brush and then get stenciling. I decided I wanted to add just a bit of gold to this. So I am using the new gilded transfers called Etiquette. And when you get this transfer set, it is going to have the transfers like almost looking like crockeries, stamps. You're going to have that. And then in between each of those transfers, you're going to just get some random font. And I decided I am going to use up that random font and I'm just going to put it randomly all over my project just to give it a little pop of gold here and there. This inspiration came from Royce during Stenciling 102. She actually used the Lover of Flowers transfer set from IOD, and I think she actually used this one as well, this transfer. It was the only transfer I have left from the Lover of Flowers because it has been by far one of my favorite transfer sets. And if you haven't used a transfer before, it is super easy. Just peel off that back, lay your transfer down. It does come with a transfer stick. If you lose that, you can use any type of if you have like a Pampered Chef scraper or a credit card, just something to rub over the entire transfer to get it off that backing. And once you do that, once you apply it, I always take that backing and just rub all over the transfer, and that is called burnishing. It really embeds your transfer into your project. Next, I decided to use the gold gilding wax from DIY. I wanted to add just a little bit of gold to the antlers, and then I got the idea to add a little gold to the rest of the project as well. So just add a little splatter of gold here, a little bit there, just throughout the whole entire project. So the key is to reline it up. And then I just took an old stencil brush and I just added a bit of gold here and there. Here is where I'm taking just an old paintbrush and I'm just going to add that gold like I mentioned earlier. And I'm just going to randomly put it here and there just to bring out a little bit more gold and just kind of make it across the board kind of evenly but random. The last thing I'm doing is taking DIY's Big Top and I am going to apply a nice even coat of Big Top to the entire piece. Now, the IOD ink is permanent, so that does not need to be sealed, but the actual transfer does. So I am just applying one even coat, giving it the added protection that it deserves, and I absolutely love how this project turned out, and I hope you guys did too. For this next project, anytime I'm out thrifting, you guys, and I see a wood crate like this, especially a handled one, I am always grabbing it. Now, I did wash this entire piece, but it looks like there was one little piece of tape on here that I missed. When I purchased this, it was actually full of all randomly weird size wood blocks. So I'm going to use that in a different project. And the one side, they actually took like a knife and engraved a tree on it. And I was not going to embrace that because I had a totally different vision for this wood crate. So I am starting off and I am going to apply one even coat of crinoline to the entire piece, let it dry, come back, apply a second coat of crinoline, let that dry, and then we're going to go to town upcycling it. When I first started doing my lives, I upcycled like a 15 pane window, and I randomly used a bunch of Royce's grungy looking papers, and this was one of them. I used grungy floral, so I had a bit left over, so we're going to use chunks of this on the side. I am using DIY's liquid patina, and this is my go-to decoupage medium. I'm lining up exactly where I want that paper, and I pull the top portion back, and this is what I like to call a starter strip. This is going to give you better control over your decoupage paper and help you eliminate a lot of wrinkles. So the key is not too thick of the liquid patina. And the second is take your misting bottle and mist your paper. This is going to activate the fibers in the paper and also help eliminate wrinkles. So take that paper, lay it back down, and take your paintbrush and just smooth it out. You get a perfect finish. Once you smooth it all out, then what I recommend doing is flipping it back over and then continue on. And I just add more liquid patina, mist my paper, and work my way down. Next, once the paper is completely dry, and that is a total pro tip, guys, make sure your decoupage paper is completely dry. Then in a downward motion, take a piece of sandpaper and sand off the excess. You will get the perfect, clean, crisp, clean line all around your project. I'm using the new stencil called Apothecary Collection, and keep in mind when you use the stencil, you do not need to use as is, you can customize it. I am also using the JRV stencil brush and the color Weathered Wood. So when I talk about customizing it, I am going to first and foremost take and apply that decorative piece in each of the corners. Now you can see that, or as you're going to see, there is a line in between, and I'm going to extend that line, and I'm going to show you how I do that and really customize this because that stencil does not fit entirely on the side of this crate. A couple pro tips: always offload your stencil brush. I always talk about this. It is really key that you start with less paint, or less paint is more is a good way to put it, and it will help you get a really nice, crisp, clean stencil. Decided to distress this a little bit, and typically I like to wet distress with a damp rag, or if I'm sanding it, take it outside. And I am in a big hurry and I didn't want to go out and get my sander and all that good stuff, so I am just taking a piece of sandpaper and randomly distressing here and there over the entire piece. The last step of this whole project is you want to seal it. Anytime you're using DIY paint, you want to completely seal your entire piece. So I am applying one even coat over the entire piece. I'm going to let it dry, and this project will be complete. I love the transformation of this, and I think the paper and the stencil just look so good together. What did you guys think? I love Royce's new stencils. So today I used the Apothecary. It's the smaller version. So she had a big version of this, and now she's created, it's a Apothecary collection. And it's a smaller version of 2 of her different stencils. So very cool. Used that one, and then I used the antlers. You guys, being from Wisconsin, I had to create something, and after seeing Royce play around with it and add the flowers, I was just inspired to create something for myself. So I loved how that turned out. I was a little disappointed when the courier didn't, stamp too dark, like dark enough right away, but you know what? It's perfectly imperfect, so I love it. I cannot wait to use the crockery one though. Oh my gosh, look at both of the different types of crocks she has on here, and the numbers are completely authentic. All of the different pictures or images on here come from crocks, so it is super cool. And then the flowers. Oh, I am going to use these in an upcoming video. After seeing Lexi play around with these and, demonstrate how you can use these with watercolors, oh my, they are amazing. And Lexi is honestly so crazy talented. If you do not follow Royce or Lexi Grenzer, you should be following both of them. They are just so stinking inspirational. I felt totally recharged after taking that class. Which was Stenciling 102. So in the future, if you guys see them offering a course, definitely take it. I can guarantee you will walk away with different techniques and so much inspiration. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I was gonna do, a thrift to treasure. I did upcycle one item with, the Apothecary, but I was just so inspired to play around with those stencils. And I can't wait to continue to use them in the future. All right, guys, well, this week was so busy. I packed the maker's box. I shipped the maker's box today. I did a whatnot sale, and now I'm releasing this video. So you guys, the Maker's Box is going to be relaunching in September. So if you have not and you want to get a Maker's Box, head on over to my waitlist. It's in the description. Get on the waitlist because on August 26th, I am going to be opening up additional spots. I am completely full right now, and I have a lot in store for the September box. So you guys are going to be super excited when you unbox that September box. So, all right, guys, well, you have yourselves a great weekend, and we will see you back on Monday. Bye.